Hello students, let's start our next topic, PN junction diode. In the last session we have seen about the kinds of the semiconductors, right, which is nothing but P type semiconductor, N type semiconductor, and regarding the mobility and what will be the conductivity in those semiconductors types and all we have discussed in detail. So now here we are going to discuss about combination of those two semiconductors, which gives us a new thing called diode, and this device we are calling it as diode, that combination, because diode, which means having two terminals. Earlier we have seen about the pure P type semiconductor, pure N type semiconductor. That's it, right? Isn't it or not? Adding the impurities and all. Now what if we combine both these, because P type is also having the conductivity property and as well as N type is also having the conductivity property. Now let's discuss what happens if we join them in a proper order, and let's discuss about that combination, which gave us a very good detailed information regarding the conductivity and as well as have a wide range of application also. The modern day electronics, whatever we are actually dealing about, will deal about these diodes. Okay, right. So first of all, if we join a P type semiconductor and N type semiconductor such that the crystal structure remains continuous at the boundary, the resulting arrangement is called as a PN junction diode or a semiconductor diode or a crystal diode. So when you consider a single semiconductor crystal, we can dope it with either P type or N type. Suppose for the same semiconductor crystal, I have taken that from one side if I dope with P type material and from the another side if I dope with N type material, the resultant crystal is nothing but this PN junction diode. Are you getting the point here? We can't club them together like separately from one P and separately from a 1N and combining them. It's not at all possible. Considering a crystal, semiconductor crystal, and doping with P type materials from one side and doping with N type materials from N type materials from the another side. That's what actually we do. And such a crystal is nothing but the PN junction diode. Look here the structure. You can see here clearly the P type and as well as the N type. Are you getting the point here? These grey ones are nothing but the holes, while these purples are the electrons. Are we clear with this, ma? Right. Which are the majority and minority charge carriers. Of course, with respect to P, the majority are holes, and with respect to N, the majority are electrons. Let's understand this particular arrangement in detail and as well as clear also. Look here, this is what we call as the junction. Anyway, we will discuss about this in detail. This is not sufficient. Later we will speak about the mobility of all these also. So, are we clear with this? Okay, ma? See here, when a PN junction is formed, here PN junction, this is what the common point. So when a PN junction is formed, the P region has more mobile, P region has mobile holes and immobile negatively charged ions. Isn't it or not? And similarly, in the N region, it has mobile electrons and immobile positively charged ions. Isn't that or not? See, in the yesterday's structures, when we discussed about P type and N type, that's what the conditions we got, right? So in the case of P type, boron is actually accepting the electron or the third group element, whatever you are adding, boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, all this. So out of all this, the third group element, which is the impurity we have added, is deficient of one electron, because the neighboring all the fourth group semiconductor elements are tetravalent, and while the impurity is only the trivalent, third group, right, which is having a deficiency of one electron. So it is going to accept the electron, and that's what it is here. So this is associated with that hole, and as it is accepting, right, that's what. While in the case of N type, it is already having an excess electron, the pentavalent impurity we are adding, while the semiconductor is a tetravalent. So it is having an excess electron here. What happens in that? This becomes a donor. That's it, no? The freely bound or loosely bound electron is now free to move here. The fifth electron, which is of that particular impurity. Thus, as it is donating the electron, the impurity will get the positive sign, and this is what the associated electron. Are we getting the point here? Remember, the entire crystal, whatever you are actually speaking, will be electrically neutral. Okay, right. and this is what the circuit symbol for PN junction diode. You can notice here. Here it is. This is the positive side, this is the negative side. Let me write down, it will be very clear for you. So this is P side while this is N side. Of course, positive, negative. PN junction diode, right? So are we clear with this regarding the symbol and all? Okay ma? Right. Now let's look about the depletion layer, or you can call it as this junction, and we'll discuss about in detail how the mobility will be there and how the entire PN junction diode will be formed. Junction we are speaking about, right? So let's discuss in detail about that. So here it is. So PN junction diode immediately after it is formed, and this is how the formation will be, and that region is called depletion region. Did you notice it there? As the hole is being drifted, right? So that was, I am calling it as the direction of the electric field. And anyway, electron is moving from here to there, so direction of the electric field will be opposite to that. Are you getting the point here? Let me show this again. This is how it happens. Combination of, and that region where the electron and hole are combining is called depletion region. And look here, there is no charge, static charges they became now. So that region where we can have there is no condition of this combination again is nothing but the depletion region. Are we clear with this? Let's understand in detail about what is this battery which I am representing here and all. Okay, first understand how the combination is actually happening here. Okay, anyway, all these points we'll discuss, no need to worry about them. So first let's start from this entire PN junction diode. So we have already understand how a PN junction diode will form, because when we consider a semiconducting crystal, when we dope with P type impurity from one side and N type impurity from another side, the resulting structure is nothing but we call it as PN junction diode. So now near the junction in this region, this is right the junction, this dotted line which is nothing but the junction. So near the junction on the either side, the free electrons from N region migrate towards the P region, which you have already seen, and the holes in the P region migrate towards the N region. Isn't it or not? We have already seen this already. Isn't it or not? P type, N type. This process is known as diffusion. Are we clear with this? This diffusion is due to concentration gradient. Concentration gradient, which means the impurities whatever you are adding, so that per unit length is nothing but concentration gradient of that. Due to diffusion, the positive ions are left over in the N region, you can see here, and negative ions are left over in the P region, which is here. Isn't it or not? Which are near the junctions here. And remember, these ions are immobile. Have you seen here? This is what. These ions are immobile. They can't move. Okay. Charge carriers alone will move, which are nothing but the electrons and holes, whatever you are actually considering here. Okay. And now, as there are immobile ions, which you are actually having, due to the immobile ions on either side of the junction, an internal electric field is formed at the junction, and which it will be directed from N region to P region. From N to P region, there will be an internal electric field. Okay. And which you can notice here, which we call it as like a pseudo battery, which I have represented. Okay. Are we clear with this? Okay ma? And remember, this region where no charge carriers that is formed at the PN junction due to the combination of electrons and holes is called depletion layer. Depletion layer. And this region, whatever you are actually speaking about, and it will be in the order of 10 power minus 6 meter. When the depletion layer is sufficiently built up, it prevents the further diffusion of the electrons from N side to P side and holes from P side to N side, which means it acts like a barrier, and also we can call it like this potential, whatever the pseudo battery is having, also called as barrier potential. We can call it like, we can also call it as barrier potential. Are we clear with this ma? Okay. Right. Now, if you consider or if you speak this particular barrier potential, its value will be around 0.7 volt or 0.3 volts, it will be in the less than 1 volt, basing on the different kinds of the material what you are actually taking. Like for silicon it will be 0.7 and for germanium it will be 0.3 volt. And you can call also this barrier potential to be as contact potential. We can also call it as contact potential, and you can notice here it already behaves like a pseudo battery. Okay, and this value or this potential will depends upon the nature of the semiconductor, doping concentration and temperature of the junction what we are actually taking here. Are we clear with this? Right. And here I have mentioned all the points which I have discussed just now. So you can take a screenshot of this and make a note of all this. Suppose all regarding the immobility and all this I have mentioned here regarding the width of the potential barrier and all. Thus, the difference in potentials between p and n region because of the immobilance which I have already seen earlier across the junction makes it difficult for the holes and electrons to move across the junction. This acts as a barrier and hence we call it as potential barrier or height of the barrier, and that was the physical distance between one side and the other side is called width of the barrier, which we have the width whatever the size we are actually speaking about. We have mentioned right from here to there, that was the depletion layer, and that was, suppose if V is the barrier potential and D is the thickness of the depletion layer, V is the barrier potential and D is the thickness of the depletion layer, then the electric field across the junction can be given as, which I can write it as E is equal to V by D equal to V by D. Can I write down this? From N side to P side, remember this, from N side to P side. I am speaking about this electric field which we have already mentioned. Remember, this represents electric field, not the direction, don't confuse there. It states that there is an electric field, it's not the direction, I repeat. Okay, and this is what the electric field which is. Are we clear with this? So from N side to P side it will be off, and which we can mention like here it is, the intensity is E equal to V by D, and the direction will be from N side to P side. Are we clear with this? But here we have to speak about the two kinds of the currents which will exist in this particular movement of the electrons and as well as the holes. So regarding the kinds of the currents. So now let's start from that, diffusion current and drift current. Let's start from the first one, diffusion current. Let's see about this. So what do you mean by this diffusion current? The charge carriers are actually moving from one side to the another side, right? So let's understand how they are actually moving them. Due to the difference in the concentration of charge carriers, holes from P side diffuse towards N side and electrons from N side diffuse towards P side. The movement of these charge carriers across the junction causes a current, and that current is nothing but we call it as, because of the diffusion, and thus we can call it as diffusion current, and diffusion current is from P side to N side. So here I'll write down the cross points alone. Let me erase this so that it will be. So when holes move from P side to N side and electrons move from N side to P side because of the change in the concentration, difference of the concentration of the charge carriers on either side, holes from P side from P to N, while electrons from N to P, they will move, and movement of these charge carriers across the junction causes a current, and we call that as diffusion current, and diffusion current is from P side to N side. I'll write it as I diffusion will be from, the direction of the diffusion current will be from P side to N side. Are you getting the point here? P side to N side. Now let's look about this drift current. Regarding the diffusion, we have already seen by nature, by the charge, by the difference of the concentration on either side, the charge carriers are moving here. Now let's look about this drift current, a little interesting one this is. if an electron hole pair is created in the depletion region, let me draw the p-n junction diode so that it will be very clear for you. Okay, so look here, this is what the figure, just a rough sketch I have drawn. You can for the better understanding and all. So if an electron hole pair is created in the depletion region, here it is, this is the depletion region, and this is what we call it as width of the depletion region, dl, depletion region dr. Are you getting the point here? So if an electron hole pair is created in the depletion region, the electron is quickly pushed by the electric field towards the n side and the hole towards the p side. Okay, are you getting the point here? So there is almost no chance of recombination of a hole with an electron in the depletion region, since because there are static charges already. So that was there that actually is doing. Okay, as electron hole pairs are continuously created in the depletion region, there is a regular flow of electrons towards the n side and of holes towards the p side. So this makes a current from n side to p side, and this is called as drift current. So drift current will be from opposite of the previous, will be from n side to p side. Just now we have seen how it is actually happening. So if an electron hole pair is created in this depletion region, if an electron hole pair is created, what happens in that region? The electron is quickly pushed by the electric field towards the n side, and the hole towards the p side. There is almost no chance of recombination of a hole with an electron in the depletion region because of the existing electric field, whatever we are actually speaking about, because pseudo battery, right? That was the reason. Are you getting the point here? Okay, ma? Right. Therefore, an electron hole pair, as these electron hole pairs are actually continuously created in this depletion region, there is a regular flow of electrons towards the n side while holes towards the p side. Thus, this makes a current from n side to p side, opposite to the previous, and this current is called as drift current, since because the charge carriers are being drifted away. That's it, no? Are we clear with this? Right. So now let's look about the next topic, forward bias, which means whenever we have a p-n junction diode like this, and if the p-n junction diode is connected to the battery in such a way that p-type terminal is connected to the positive terminal of the battery and n-type terminal is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, we call it as the p-n junction diode. We call it as p-n junction diode. What happens to this condition here? As you have connected this to the positive terminal, look here, this positive charge, actually this is what the direction, right? So already we are having a positive holes. What happens? There will be a opposition from this side. So these holes will be drifted towards or will be pushed towards the depletion region. While the same is applicable here on this, the negative charge will pushes away the electrons towards the depletion layer. Are you getting the point here? Understand this clearly so that you will understand. You can see here. Okay, right. And thus here we have a very interesting relation regarding the charge carriers and as well as the drifts of all these. So now let's understand what do you mean by a forward bias, and let's understand how we can go through this. Okay, right. When the positive terminal, which is nothing but the high potential of a battery, is connected to p-type semiconductor, and the negative terminal, which is called low potential of a battery, is connected to the n-type of a semiconductor, then the junction diode is said to be in forward bias condition. Look at the figure carefully, you will understand that. Here I have already mentioned, so just what that was. Are we clear with this? Don't worry regarding the theoretical part and all. I have already mentioned the points which are needed for you. So concentrate on the explanation part so that it will be very clear for you. Right? Okay. So in the forward bias, the applied potential establishes an electric field opposite to the potential barrier. Can I make this point or not? So in forward bias, the applied potential, what I are actually applying here, the applied potential establishes an electric field opposite to the potential barrier. Potential barrier will be from N to P, while here it is, this is what? Opposite to that, right? That's what I'm speaking about. So in case of the forward bias, the holes from P side or P type are repelled by the positive terminal of the battery, and they will be pushed towards the junction, and simultaneously on the other hand side, that is on this side, the negative terminal will push these electrons towards the depletion layer. That's it, right? The N-type semiconductor will be repelled by this particular negative terminal, and towards the junction it will be. And in the forward bias, the width of the depletion layer obviously decreases, since because all these charges are getting closer and closer, right? So this width will be reduced because of this opposition, whatever we are actually having. Okay, so if V is the external applied voltage and VB is the barrier potential, then net potential in the forward bias we can give it as VB difference V. VB difference V, where VB is the barrier potential, V is the applied potential. Let's say suppose if we call VB difference V. When the battery voltage is high, it gives sufficient energy to these charge carriers to overcome the potential barrier at the junction. Then the current in diode will sharply increases. We are actually supplying for that purpose alone. What makes these charge carriers to move towards this depletion layer? As because of the potential what I are actually applying here. So this potential will drive these charges to go deeper towards the depletion layer, isn't it or not? To move towards that, and thus there will be a conduction process, and that was the duty of the external battery what we have supplied. That's it, right? It makes the charges to go. Are you getting the point here? It doesn't produce as the current. Battery will always perform the work or creates a potential to make the charges. That's to make the charges to move, and that motion of the charges is nothing but we are terming it as the current. Are you getting the point here? So that was the purpose, right? Prime purpose of connecting a battery here. So when the charge carriers move towards this depletion layer, which you can notice here, and that was, it constitutes a current. And as the applied potential, if whatever the V we are actually using is more than the depletion layer, as I told you, right, already in the case of silicon and germanium it will be in the order of 0.3, 0.7 and all we have seen. So when once the applied voltage crosses that optimum or minimum value, which is of the depletion layer potential, pseudo battery's potential, obviously these charge carriers will start or will overcome this potential or this wall or this barrier, and thus they will cross to the another region. And similarly from this side also, from electrons will combine with the holes, and thus we can give us a current. Thus what we can say, when there is a current, as until the potential barrier value is not attained, there won't be any current, but when once they cross it, obviously there will be a rise in current, and that was the sharply rise in the current. Later we have a topic called characteristics of a PN junction diode. There we can see the graph nature also. Okay, there I will plot the graph, so that's why I am not I am not drawing the graph again here. So important points what we have to remember here in the forward bias is, in the forward bias, current is mainly due to the flow of majority charge carriers. Look here, that's it, no? On the P type holes and on the N type electrons. So in the forward bias, current is mainly due to the flow of majority charge carriers, and it is in the order of milliampere, will be in the order of milliampere, 10 power minus 3. And in the forward bias, the resistance offered by the diode is less, because the same side it was, so the holes are being repelled, and that was, and thus the resistance offered by the diode is less. And in the forward bias, the current flow through the diode is mainly due to diffusion of charge carriers. So that's it, right? On the basing on the concentration, they are actually more, and that's what the current also. So here in the forward bias, we can have the current because of mainly due to the diffusion of charge carriers. Are we clear with this? So this is what I have all mentioned here, the points regarding the theory and all, so which you can take a screenshots, and then you can continue for the theoretical part. Better is give a reading again in the NCERT too, so it will clarify more of your doubts. So this is what it is. Clear? Right. Now let's look about the next one, reverse bias. Reverse bias is like either you change the terminals of the diode, whatever you are having, or reverse the terminals of the battery. Earlier we have connected the p-type to the positive terminal of the battery and n-type to the negative terminal of the battery. Now we are doing it reverse. Connect the p-type semiconductor to the negative terminal of the battery and connect the n-type semiconductor to the positive terminal of the battery, and the resulted combination is nothing but this reverse bias condition. Are we clear with this? So now let's understand how the current flow will be and all. Look here carefully. The moment when you join, see here, there will be an attraction now. Holes will be attracted towards the negative terminal while electrons will be attracted towards the positive terminal. Now let's understand how there will be a depletion, what will be the depletion layer condition, and how the current direction will be. All this here we'll look about in detail, right? So in the case of reverse bias, when the positive terminal or high potential of a battery is connected to the n-type semiconductor and the negative terminal or the low potential of a battery is connected to the p-type semiconductor, the junction diode is in reverse bias condition. You can see here, isn't it or not? Okay, in reverse bias, the holes in p-type are attracted by the negative terminal of the battery. We can see here. Are you watching this? Okay, and the electrons, you can see here, will be attracted by the positive terminal, okay, on the inside. Thus what we can say here, the holes which are in the p-type are attracted by the negative terminal of the battery and they will obviously move away from the junction. You can notice here. And at the same time, electrons are being attracted by the positive terminal of the battery and they also will move away from the junction. What happens when they move away from the junction? All these charges are, the width of the depletion layer now will increase, while earlier in the forward bias it was reduced. Are you getting the point here? Okay ma, the width of the depletion layer increases in the reverse bias. Now if V is the applied voltage and VB is the barrier potential, then the effective barrier potential in reverse bias we can give it as, earlier it was difference, right? Now here we should speak the summation. It will be now V plus VB, or if VB is the barrier potential and V is the applied potential, or according to the figure you can write it as E plus V in either of the way. Let's say suppose this is VB and E equal to V, no problem. So it will be now, it is nothing but V plus VB. V is applied, VB is barrier potential. In reverse bias, diffusion of electrons from N side to P side and holes from P side to N side is more difficult, and diode will not allow electric current through it. Could you tell me the reason why? Because these electrons, instead of the diffusion, they have been attracted, they have been drifted towards this, isn't it or not? Now do you understand why I am using the word drifted? While earlier it was diffusing, now they have been drifted. Are you getting the point here? So what type of the current and all are you getting here in the reverse bias? Yes, that's true, diffusion and drift currents, that's what I am speaking about. Earlier it was diffusion, now it was for drift. Are we clear with this? So as there was in the reverse bias, diffusion of electrons from N side to P side and holes from P side to N side is more difficult, and diode will not allow electric current through it due to minority carriers. What do you mean by the minority carriers? Electrons in the P type and holes in N type, which are the minority charge carriers. A small amount of the current will flow in this particular depletion region, and of course that will be in the order of microampere, and even in the case of silicon it will be around, in the case of it will be nanoamperes. Even in the case of silicon it will be in the order of nanoampere. And the resistance, as the current is very low amount, right? So the resistance offered by the diode in the reverse bias condition will be more, will be very high, and in the reverse bias, flow of current through the diode is mainly because of drift current. Are you getting the point here? Are we clear with this ma? So that was regarding the forward bias and as well as reverse bias. Here I have mentioned the points regarding the reverse bias condition too. Okay, take a screenshot for this, and you can make a note of, and more importantly maintain the notes, right? Now let's look about some of the diode diagrams, which is nothing but when we have a forward bias, when we have a reverse bias, how to identify and all. Suppose here I have taken a diode. If I have given 5 volts here, 2 volts here, this is P type, N type, positive, negative. This is forward bias. This is forward bias. The other way, if I give instead of this 5 volt, let me erase this. This is one diagram, and the another one is, or shall I draw continuously? It will be better. So for you, so no confusion too. Then it will, if it is 5 volt and 2 volt, it's forward bias. Suppose if I have one more, I am drawing the forward bias conditions all together so that you can have them at a stretch. Now if I give the potentials in such a way that to the positive side minus 3 volt, to the negative side minus 5 volt, even this is also the forward bias. One more also we can draw. If say suppose this is, I am maintaining the same 5 volt, instead of this, let's say suppose ground this, even that also. So this is also the forward bias. Or else let me draw one more, you can understand. Let us ground this, and on the other side I will give, let's say suppose some 2 volt. All these are the forward bias conditions. All these are the forward bias conditions for a PN junction diode. Are you getting the point here? Right. Now let's draw the reverse bias conditions, which means for the circuits how we can identify the reverse bias. Okay. Now let's look about the reverse bias condition, RB. So here is the diode, imagine. Now of course this is P side, N side. Reverse bias means they should be connected in a reverse manner, right? So here low potential, high potential should be reversed. So here I am giving 2 volt, here I am giving 5 volt. Did you notice I have just altered to the earlier. Now again just reverse the values, that itself gives you the reverse bias condition. Here I am giving minus 5 volt, here I will give minus 3 volt. So high potential should be on the negative side, that indicates the RB, reverse bias. Now coming to the third one, grounding. Let me draw that. I will ground this negative potential, negative side, and now here it will be, I will apply the same minus 5 volt. Now here one more, I have taken 4 cases now, so I am drawing the same again. 2 volts here, while here I have grounded. Instead of grounded, 2 volt is more, right? So that was, instead of minus 5 volt, it was grounded more. Minus 5, minus 3 is more greater than minus 5, and that was. So high potential has been given to all the N side. If you reverse these potentials, whatever we have taken here, if you reverse these potentials to this side and these potentials to this side, it will be FB condition. Are we clear with this? Okay ma? Right. Let's look about the diode characteristics, forward bias and reverse bias. I told you, right, here we will discuss about that. So here I have taken a PN junction diode connected across a rheostat and across a battery. There is a milliammeter, because in the forward bias we can have the current in the order of milliamperes, and there is a potentiometer or a voltmeter you can call, either it will be, because the values will be very accurate, so we use. And that was the use rate, potentiometer use. Whenever we need a very fine small values, we use that. So first let's understand this forward bias condition, then we can go for the reverse bias. Look here, this graph we can call it as VI characteristics, potential current VI, potential current characteristics or diode characteristics, simply call it as. Okay, you have an experiment too regarding this in your laboratory. So the VI characteristics of the PN junction diode, you can see here. This is what. Okay, I have considered potential along the x-axis and current along the y-axis, and this is what the positive terminal is connected to the positive terminal of this battery. You can notice here, and the negative terminal of the N type is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So this was forward bias condition, isn't it or not? Right. So in the forward bias junction, you can see here, as I have connected the P side to the positive terminal of the battery and N side to the negative terminal of the battery. The potential of PN junction can be varied with the help of the potential divider. Here you can see here, that was the need of. And as I told you earlier, for different materials, the barrier potential will be of different, like it will be 0.3 volt for germanium and 0.7 volt for silicon, more for silicon it will be. And when once we cross that value, because of the applied what we are actually using here, and the potential barrier is almost eliminated and current starts flowing through that when once we cross that voltage. And this voltage is known as threshold voltage or cutoff voltage or knee voltage. And coming to the practicality, barrier potential, which we can call it as VB mostly. So knee voltage or barrier voltage, whatever it will be, the pseudo battery voltage we are speaking, right? So both these values will be almost, practically almost they will be same. So when once we cross that, you can notice here, until then there is no raise of the current, but when once we cross that, look here, there is a shoot up of the current, the value has been raised. So as the forward voltage applied, the voltage increases, and thus obviously, of course, beyond the threshold voltage or the knee voltage, the forward current raises exponentially. Did you notice it there? And this forward current is due to majority charge carriers in PN junction diode, whatever we are actually having. So there is an increment, proper increment. Are we clear with this? Right. Now let's look about the reverse bias. Now as I told you earlier, either you can change the terminals of the battery which are connected to that, or just reverse the diode. That's what I am doing here. I have reversed the diode terminals. So now there is no problem, right? So now the reverse voltage I have taken along the negative x axis, and the reverse current I have taken, which will be in the order of microamperes, along the negative y axis. And if I plot the graph, notice that you can see here, started initially 0 and continuing, but at a particular point it got a very huge spike here. Did you notice? Let me show that again. Pink, observe that, that's was. So it went to that maximum of, and that was, we call it as breakdown voltage, which means for the reverse bias of a PN junction diode, the P side is connected to the negative terminal and N side is connected to the positive terminal of a battery. The reverse potential at this PN junction diode can be varied by, of course, again using the potential divider. And in this case, the junction resistance becomes very high, isn't it or not, in the case of reverse bias, and no current should actually flow through the circuit. That's what the reason why we got this. Okay, because in the reverse bias the depletion layer will be much larger. No, the thickness of the depletion layer will be increasing and the resistance offered will be more. When the resistance is more, current obviously will be 0, and the current flow through this particular circuit is almost 0. But however, due to the minority charge carriers, as I told you earlier in the reverse bias condition, there will be a very little amount of the current will flow through that and will be in the order of microampere, which you can notice here. Okay, and the circuit because of this, and this current whatever you are actually speaking is called as reverse current. As the reverse voltage is increased from 0, the reverse current quickly rises to its maximum or the saturation value. If the reverse voltage is further increased, the kinetic energy of the electrons becomes so high and they knock out of the electrons from the semiconductor atoms, and at this stage breakdown of the diode occurs. There is a sudden change of the reverse current, and now the diode is destroyed permanently here. Are you getting the point here? When there will be a complete flow of, until this point, even though you are increasing the current value because of the minority charge carriers, almost it will be of 0. But later on, when you are keeping on, when you keep on increasing the reverse voltage, the value started increasing a very little, feeble. And this current, whatever we are actually speaking about, is because of the minority charge carriers. But even if you still cross a particular value here, I have mentioned, it's called breakdown voltage. At that particular point, the entire charge carriers which are associated with those ions inside the PN crystal or the PN diode will gain maximum kinetic energy because you are applying the potential, right, EV. So that was the kinetic energy they will gain, and then they will knock out from those ions, and the diode will be destroyed permanently. What happens when the diode destroyed permanently? It completely becomes like a conducting, and that was the value you can see here, and that's the reason why the current shoots up here. Have you understand this? And that current we are calling it as reverse current. And regarding this breaking of the diode, we have to discuss about two kinds of the breakdowns, and one is called avalanche breakdown and the second one is Zener breakdown. Are you getting the point here? Okay ma, let's start from the avalanche breakdown. What do you mean by an avalanche? What do you mean by an avalanche? So I think I hope you are you know with this avalanche. So whenever there is a snow and of course over the mountain, if that flows, the avalanche refers to that was. So if there is a somewhere, if there is any breakage of that snow or that, so that continuously floods over, and that was we call it as avalanche breakdown. So even if it is at a very disturbance, a very small little disturbance occurs at any particular point, that will be multiplied, and that effect we can get in a very larger magnitude at the end. So this type of breakdown, which is nothing but the avalanche breakdown, will takes place when both sides of the junction are lightly doped. What happens when you lightly dope them? Obviously the depletion layer is large, isn't it or not? That's obvious. So when avalanche breakdown will occur whenever we have a lightly doped semiconducting crystal, and in this case the electric field, which is nothing but in avalanche breakdown I am speaking about, the electric field across the depletion layer is not so strong because of the large, E equal to V by D. So from there, large, no, that was here. The minority carriers are accelerated by the applied voltage and collide with the semiconductor atoms in the depletion region. Due to the collision with valence electrons, covalent bonds will break and electron hole pairs are generated. These new carriers so acquire energy from the applied potential and in turn produce additional carriers. Now are you getting the point here? So whatever the volt, now do you understand what do you mean by the avalanche now? So how the actual continuing the values are actually increasing. The minority carriers are accelerated by the applied voltage and collide with the semiconductor atoms in the depletion region. Due to the collision with the valence electrons, covalent bonds are broken and electron hole pairs are generated. These new carriers so produced will acquire energy from the applied potential and in turn produces additional carriers. So the collision will keep on continuous. Are you getting the point? So somewhere one particular electron will knock out the some other, and now there are two. Now these two will collide with some other, now it will be 4. Now these 4 will collide with some other, now again it will be 8. Now are you getting? So flood multiplication it will be like, and this forms a cumulative process, and what we call that cumulative process, which is nothing but avalanche multiplication, or you can simply call it as flood multiplication too, not a deal. And this breakdown at that particular point is called avalanche breakdown. So when a minority charge carrier acquires that, and if it hits with that one of the ions, and that hence the value will be off. Are you getting the point here? Right. Now coming to the second one, Zener breakdown. Zener breakdown takes place in very thin junction. What do you mean by a thin junction? When we can have a thin junction, speaking about the depletion layer, when we dope, the both sides of the junction are heavily doped, isn't it or not? And obviously the depletion layer will be narrow, that was right, thin refers to, because of that. And when a small reverse bias voltage is applied, a very strong electric field will be set up across this thin depletion layer, since because E equal to V by D, remember that condition. When D is small, obviously a strong electric field will be set up across that, and this field is strong enough to break or rupture the covalent bonds. Now extremely large number of electrons and holes are produced, which constitutes the reverse saturation current, and we can also call that reverse saturation current also as Zener current. Okay, and Zener current is independent of the applied voltage, keep that in mind. This occurs in heavily doped diodes at low reverse bias voltages. Keep this point in note. So do you find the difference now? What was the difference between that Zener breakdown and as well as the avalanche breakdown? In the case of avalanche breakdown, when minority charge carriers acquires the voltage, it undergoes for the collision, and thus the multiplication will be. So the collision will keep on continuous, and thus there will be a current here. This is what. If you dope that was situation when you dope lightly. Now in the case of Zener, if you dope very heavily, the depletion layer is very small. So in a very small region we can find we can have a very strong electric field. This electric field will rupture the bonds, and thus there will be a the bonds will break, and thus there will be a flow of current, and that current is nothing but Zener current, or of course we can call it as saturation current, which is I am speaking about this current time. In the reverse bias condition I am speaking about all these two kinds of. Are you getting the point here? And of course that is what we call it as Zener breakdown, while the earlier is nothing but avalanche breakdown. So basing on the kind of the doping what we have done, we are actually speaking about this. So now if you consider the resistance of the diode, static or the DC resistance we can give it as RDC equal to V by I, and dynamic or AC resistance we can call it as RAC equal to delta V by delta I for a fixed value, and of course the variation in that. While solving the problems it will be useful for you, variation of that. So are you getting the point here? Okay ma?